what's in here. We're back with another Savage video. Thanks guys for tuning in. I just want to give you guys a quick update on what's going on with my home network and studio upgrade. You know, I've had problems with networking and documented a little bit of it, but I haven't done an update in a while. So I figured I would go ahead and knock that out, show you guys what I've got going on. I haven't really ever shown like my little setup here. This is my normal PC, you know, streaming machine and all that stuff. It's a Ryzen 7 3700X, 16 gig of memory. It's got a Super 1660 in there, and yeah, it's a pretty decent machine. It does what I need it to do. This machine is a Ryzen 5 3600. It's just my second machine in here. It's got a little RX 580 in there, basically the same. It's got 16 gig of memory, the same memory as this machine. They're almost identical other than the processor and the GPU. The motherboard and all that stuff is the same. Maybe a little bit of difference on the hard drives and stuff too, but so that's that. And then I got my work machine over here, just sitting on a couple of Veta frames. Haha. just putting them to use here. And you guys remember, this was the reason, basically the catalyst for the whole thing, for me actually getting going on the networking side and upgrading, because the rigs are in here in the vault. They were connected to this wirelessly. There's so much other stuff in here. Actually, there was a lot in here. Now there's not. A lot of other devices, and there was always a lot of interference. And plus, this thing is just totally unreliable, it just seems. So really happy to get that off of my network. This switch used to be behind my computer over here, but now I'm able to clean all that up because, you know, I've ran all the cables, and I'll show you that in a minute. So right now these are just extra, but I was actually using this to test cables as I was making them. So not a big deal there, just kind of making sure. I don't have like a legit cable tester, so that's just what I was doing, just for the heck of it. So let's go into the vault for a second. It says it's 100 degrees. Probably not, because where the sensor is a little bit of a bad spot. It gets a lot of hot air blown on it. So anyway. So this is what it looks like in here now. It's probably going to be a little bit loud. Probably can't hear me too well. But I did do a little bit of reconfig because I wanted that rig. That is Dagobah. That's the one that I always have a lot of problems with. And it's the one that always kind of runs hot. So what I did was I actually have this one. It was up here. It was on the top above Mustafar, above this rig here. So it was up here. I figured that if I could get it closer to the floor, it might do a little bit better. Plus, I have the fan, and I don't know. It hasn't really benefited too much. Maybe a little bit cooler, not a lot. This rig is Scarif. It's kind of the one that's kind of just tore apart right now. I did have 11 RX 580s on this rig, and I sold them at the bottom. So, yay me. I do have one left though. So, actually this is a 570, but that rig's not even on because there's not enough reason to have it on because of the density. You know, the board plus all the components, the peripherals, would take up too much electricity compared to the GPU, so I'm just leaving it off for now until I get some more. I'm looking at maybe getting some 5600 XTs or some 5700s. I don't know, kind of waiting on Big Navi 2, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but at the moment I'm kind of just waiting. This is Kessel. This is my longtime NVIDIA rig, and then, you know, just 6 10 series GPUs, 2 1070s, 2 1070 Ti's, and 2 1080s. Nothing too special, but it's been a workhorse. This thing just runs non-stop, no problem at all. And then you got Mustafar down here. Again, no problem, RX 580s. This one, if you turn it off, turn it back on, it'll just fire right back up and start mining, no problem at all. That one, that's my problem child over there. Quick update on this room anyway, the Savage Vault here. This is the Ubiquiti 8-port managed switch. So I've got custom cables, you know, made to the right length, you know, going to the rigs now. So it looks pretty slick. I like it. And yeah, so this is hardwired basically, you know, uplink right here to the other switch that's in the closet. Now I got the PDU, mounted that a while back. I've got all these smart plugs. Now a lot of these smart plugs are not working correctly as far as communicating because they're wireless, and in here there's a lot of interference obviously because of the rigs and stuff, so they are not communicating let's just say too reliably. They do communicate, but it's, as long as they do every now and then, they store the data, so I'm okay with it. The only problem is being able to control the rigs remotely and stuff like that, so it's a little bit of a challenge. I'll look into that. Maybe I'll end up putting a wireless access point. It's possible I'll put a wireless access point in here, maybe, you know, somewhere in here, I don't know, just to get a little bit better of a signal. Anyway, so that's what is going on with that. 98 degrees. All right, so let's walk down to the wiring closet. What's in here? All right, so I've done several videos on this showing running the cables from the attic, you know, and in the attic and all that stuff. So basically the way this is broken down is this side over here is all of the cables that are actually punched down into the back of the patch panel. And everything on this side is either audio, video, or something that's not punched down, like a wireless access point, you know, PoE wireless access point. Actually, it's not that one, it would be that one right there. But yeah, so that's the way I did it, so that I don't really have to ever take that off again. I mean, I can take it off and run new cables, but I didn't want to make it to where, if you think about it, like all these cables go through wall plate there, that home theater wall plate, and if I were to need to run a new cable or remove this device or remove this patch panel, for example, then I would have to actually either remove all the cables off the back of the patch panel or cut that thing off of the cables, because they're all running through it, right? And it's a solid piece. Anyway, not a big deal. I don't plan on doing anything like that. But I did mention last night in my stream that the one mistake that I made in this whole design here was I should have got the Keystone jack type of patch panel, because if I did that, then that thing wouldn't be a problem, and I could just configure the ports however I wanted, because you see how they are right now. I mean, it looks okay, but I don't have the ability of just making, like, if this was a Keystone and I had the Cat 5 or the Cat 6 jacks in here, I could just put, you know, each one right above the port that I was going to attach it to, and just have a 6-inch or a 4-inch cable there, and it would have been super clean. This looks all right, I get it, but it's just not exactly the way I wanted it. But it is what it is, and it looks all right. I'm okay with it. So this is the 24 port. This is PoE also. This 24 port patch panel, nothing special. I think it's a trip light. Yeah, trip light. And I've got these little thin, what are they called? Slim run Cat 6A cables, and these are manufactured. I didn't make these. The reason I did that is because look at the thickness of this cable here. This is really hard to work with. And I was making cables for each one. I actually had a lot of them made already. But man, it was just a nightmare. It's just too much. It's just too thick and too difficult to work with. That Cat 6A cable that I have is just it's kind of a mess. But anyway, so 24 port switch, pretty much almost filled up now, because I've got everything plugged in that's going to be here, like cameras and everything. Lots of stuff connected though, for sure. One of these is the wireless access point. I think it's this one right here. You can't really see it. But then I also have a direct access copper cable right here that is connecting the 24 port switch to the UDM Pro. That is your gateway router device. Plus, if you have cameras, you have a hard drive in here, is your surveillance hard drive. My light just went off my phone. So yeah, so anyway, I had to configure. The thing is that this is a 10 gig port here on the 24 port, I believe is the way it works. This is a 10 gig and this is only a 1 gig. And if you just connect it straight, it won't work without hard coding the 24 port switch to be 1 gig, this port right here. So you have to do that inside of the software, and that's a whole other issue, a whole other video. I need to learn how to use it a lot better because it's pretty intense, the whole unified software and everything. So cool stuff, but that is kind of the gist of that thing. Now, This is just a block off plate. If I have to run cables and stuff, I always have, I'll have to take this off and stuff, but it just kind of makes it look a little bit cleaner. And then I've got the Yamaha Rx V367, super old, probably 10 years old, maybe a little bit more. Well, maybe right at 10 years old. That's just a receiver that will eventually be for the in-ceiling speakers in my studio, my media room over there. And then this one down here is the same, but this one will be for the great room, a different room for the in-ceiling speakers in there. So then that's what those two things are, the two receivers. This is a HDMI matrix. It's 4 inputs, 4 outputs. So I have 4 TVs in the house that have an HDMI cable connected to this device. And then I've got 4 inputs. I've got my computer, I've got the Roku here, I've got PS4 and an old Xbox. Actually, yeah, both these are kind of old anyway, I guess. But that's my 4 inputs to this device. So now I can show whatever's input to here, any one of those devices, my computer, the Roku here, the PS4, or the Xbox on any TV in the house from this box right here. So that's the way that works. So I'll show you that in a minute. Then I've got the Pile, just a power distribution unit here. I wanted one for whatever reason with switches on the front and lights and stuff, because I wanted to be able to look at what was on. Eventually I'll probably put some labels or something. I do have this stuff documented. It's on a piece of paper, but it's not like labeled on here. I don't really like labels. You guys know I don't like stickers that much anyway, so I don't know if I'll actually ever label it here. I'd probably just have like a little booklet or something that I'll slide up in here to document all the switches and everything. Then I got a printer down here at the bottom, wireless printer, just for the heck of it, just because it fit nice in there. So put that in there. All right, so now let's see what we have left. Well, first let's demonstrate the HDMI matrix, okay? Let's see here. You got, right now I'm watching, this is Roku, getting ready for the debates, I guess. So you can see that this is, I'll just go all the way back here. So this is Roku in here. And if I go over to, now eventually this will be remote controlled. I don't have the IR repeaters set up yet. Eventually it'll be remote controlled. So let's say that I want to do the Xbox in there. I come in here, I know that my input, my output is A over here. So I have to switch to that first. Then I will change it to 3. I believe that's the Xbox. So let's go and check that out. That should have changed it. All right, so you can see now there is the Xbox, and I can control it from here. There's not a disc in there, I don't think. Or maybe there is. No. Okay, so I'm controlling that from, this far away, right? Not bad, pretty decent. And I've tested it in other rooms, and it seems to work just fine. So that's the Xbox. And then let's say I wanted to do the PS4, switch to 4 on here. And then now you're on the PS4. All right, so that's kind of cool, right? Now, the cool thing is that you can display the same display on every TV or, any combination of inputs and outputs. So for example, the great room TV is this one right here. If I wanted to, right now it's on the Roku. So let's go and check that out. So there's the Roku on this. And then now I only have the one Roku, right? So the one Roku is right here and it's plugged into this. Right now I'm on PS4 in there, but if I change back to my display and go to 2, then I'll see the Roku in here as well. So it's one Roku, but multiple displays. So it's kind of nice, entertainment-wise, being able to, if you're doing a UFC fight or something like that, it's kind of cool to have it set up like this. And I can also input or output my computer. So if I switch to 1, I think that it will add a display. Yeah, see? So like that. So now that's basically my third. I don't know if I can get over there. Where did it put it? Should be, yeah, there we go. So it put it as a third monitor. So that's kind of neat. Works out kind of cool. And again, you can do that on any TV. So if I switch the great room TV to my computer, put it on 1 there, then this should switch over to my computer. Yep. That is how that works. And eventually there'll be in-ceiling speakers in here, right? I'll have, it's a 5-1 system, so I'll have, 3 in the front, center channel, left, right, and then left, right in the back here somewhere. What the goal is anyway. All right, so I think that pretty much demonstrates that stuff. Now, what's left? Okay, so the in-ceiling speakers are left. That's part of it. So all this stuff is in the garage here. Cleaned up a little bit, but it's still kind of a mess in here. These are the in-ceiling speaker boxes that I got. Cans or whatever for the back, right? So it's, I don't know what the right term for them is, but it looks like this whenever it's actually on there. There's the speaker right there. And I had these speakers in my old house, and they're actually pretty decent. They're not super expensive. You know, I'm not an audiophile, like I've said before. As long as it sounds pretty decent, I'll be happy with it. I've got the subwoofers, you know, that'll be connected as well. So that should work out pretty well. In the old house, I did not have the can though. And it's something that I really wanted for this time, because I did get some rattling and stuff, and a little bit of, it seems like a little bit of sound quality loss in the old house. So I wanted to make sure I got the cans this time, and I did. And that's pretty much it for that. So I've got 10 total speakers to install in the ceilings. That's what all this is right here. These are all the cans over here for each speaker. So each one has their own. This is like the template for cutting out the hole, although it's not big enough, so I'm gonna have to remember that whenever I cut the holes. Some other component parts for the receivers, the antennas here. And then I also have the IR repeaters. That's what all this stuff is in here, and the power supplies for them. And these are probably gonna go above, you know, in the closet. You know how there was the cables coming out of the wall, right? So these are probably gonna go above that, like in the center. I could probably walk in there and show you. Yeah, everybody likes the bike. There's the bike, 2008 Hayabusa. Maybe someday I'll turn it on for you. See, like these are gonna go probably mounted up there on the wall in between those, like a row. There's gotta be 4 of them, you know, 1 per display, right? And then these will have emitters. It'll have the emitters coming out and go into each of the devices that support IR, right? So that I can control the device remotely from any of the 4 displays. So that'll be pretty cool. I had that in the old house as well. All this stuff is from the old house, so most of it. Not any of this. This is all new. But all this stuff was, well, not this. This was in the old house, Roku. The receivers were in the old house. The PS4 and the Xbox were in the old house. But all that stuff is new, so. All right, so I think that is going to wrap it up. I've got the cameras there. That's a whole other situation, a whole other video. Oh, I was going to show you my existing closet as well, like the one that comes with the house, which is kind of cool because it is actually right on the other side of that wall right there. So it made kind of getting the cables up and over a little bit easier. So it's right inside of here. Not much in here. I've done some reorganization. You know, they still punch down telephone lines for some reason. I don't think I know a single person that has a telephone now. They just go completely cellular. You know, I got a Ring doorbell. It's connected. I don't like the thing, but it's there. These cables I have kind of separated out because these are the ones I'm going to use for the subwoofers. I'm going to use the existing cables that they ran whenever they built a house. So I'm just going to use these. I just got to get up in the attic and pull them back up through, put them down into the closet on the other side of this wall. So it's pretty easy. I mean, you go up there in the attic, you know, and it's like literally basically the same wall, you know, where everything is located. And then I've got my router. It used to be wireless router, so I used to have this set up as wireless also. But I disabled that part because I'm using the Unify Nano HD wireless access point on the new network. So this is just a cable modem router, and that's it. So it's got power in here, which is kind of cool. I thought about pulling this power because most of this stuff is going to be out of here. I might eventually actually move that to the closet as well, because really this is almost useless at this point other than that, you know, and it wouldn't be that difficult to pull up the feed and get that device into the closet over there right next door too. But it's got power at the bottom. I could pull it over on the other side pretty easily. So yeah, cool stuff. So I think that is going to wrap it up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little network tour here. And I'm looking forward to getting the in-ceiling speakers installed and set up, and the IR repeaters. That's basically the 2 things that I have left. Now I'm going to be running the cables, the speaker cables down this side, right? Shouldn't be too bad. They are white, but I'll probably just hide them behind the black Cat 6 cables there. And the HDMI cables, they're black as well. So I'll probably hide them behind there. And you know, I've only got 10 cables, 10 speaker wire to run, so it won't be that bad. Actually, that's one thing I forgot to show you was the speaker wire. It's on the floor in here in the garage. So I got 500 feet of speaker wire. This thing is heavy as heck. Yeah, I think that'll be enough. I think it'll be enough for the distances that I have to go. Probably have some left over. Yeah, because this room, my studio here, will also get the in-ceiling speakers. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge because that's the corner of the house over there. That's the side of the house. The roof comes down like right there. I've got to really pay attention to where the trusses are and where I can actually put the speakers. It's going to be kind of a challenge. I got to get up there and I might use a stud finder if it'll work to find the trusses. There's all kinds of different ways of doing it, but you know, I just got to kind of be careful with that. I don't want to cut a hole and then not be able to use it. So that'll be, you know, 3 in the front up here, center channel, left, right, and then in the back here, left and right. So yeah, that is going to do it. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking this out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see y'all in the next one. Stay savage, everybody.